Now we're going to move over next into the telco industry, and that's one that has been going through the digitalization process for many years now. Moderating the session will be Kirill, who is our Managing Director for ADA in Indonesia. And our two guest speakers will be Anthony Rodrigo, who's Group Chief Information Officer of Axiata Group. And of course, I think you all know Axiata, which is a Malaysian-based, Malaysian-headquartered multinational telco conglomerate with extensive operations in Asia. Anthony is the Group CIO and has been with Axiata since 2010 as the Group Chief Information Officer and Chief Digital Services Officer of Dialog Axiata. And he's got over 2 decades of experience in Europe, Asia, and the Americas in operations support systems and business support solutions and systems integrations, holding leadership positions at British Telecom, AT&T, Nokia, NSN, and Hayleys. Our other guest speaker is David Arcelus, who's Chief Commercial Officer of Exceliata, which is the Indonesia-based mobile telco operator headquartered in Jakarta. And David first joined Exceliata in 2016, where he served as head of access business and then CMO as well. And earlier this year, David took on the role as Chief Commercial Officer. And before Axiata, he has had extensive experience in engineering, telco, and business management companies. He also holds a master's in industrial engineering and MBA. This is going to be a power-packed panel, so I'll hand it over to you guys.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Steph. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone to the panel. And actually, we are very lucky today to have a representative of, let's say, a technologist of a telco world and a very seasoned and experienced colleague of ours, Anthony. And then we also have a marketing guru, someone who is focusing on the consumer on the other side. And this is something that we will be talking about. But before we do that, I would like to show you a small video that will bring us back in time.
Sekarang ada cara langsung mendapatkan pelayanan GSM. Bawa ponsel Anda ke tempat penjualan GSM Excel. Beli kartu SIM GSM Excel, masukkan ke dalam ponsel Anda. Lalu, aktifkan dengan 5 langkah mudah. GSM Excel langsung kering. Mudah kan? Dan langsung kering.
Okay, langsung kering. So why I wanted to show this to you. So definitely we have seen what has changed over these 25 years, right? So the phones have become not only bigger, I mean, the screens have become bigger. The SIM card has become smaller, right? We still have it, right? You still need to come to the operator's office if you want to connect or to a dealer shop. Yeah, it's really funny to see this massive credit card size SIM card as well. So, but on the other side, there are many things that have changed in the back end, right? So there were new connectivity technologies. So now telephone is much more than just a tool to make a call. So, and this is something that I wanted to discuss with David and Anthony. So there are these two very distinct sides of the digitalization journey of a telco. So on one side, there is a customer journey digitalization where there are new services, new ways to buy telco products, and even completely new products altogether. On the other side, there are backend systems and platforms where also a lot of changes happening, and that is supporting that transformation. So my question then to you will be, which one is more important? And I think this is a battle of concepts, and it's good that we have probably two sides and two visions. So maybe let's start with David. Yeah, so since we have seen this video, so from your perspective, which one is primary, which one you should focus on, and which one is secondary?
Yeah, so hi Kirill, thanks for the question. I think it's a tough question, right? In the end, I'm going to take the easy answer. I would say that everything is needed. So you need to have the customer journeys digitalized from an external point of view, but you also need the internal ones, right? So it's a little bit like chicken and egg. Now, if you ask me, like a commercial guy, for me, if we can break this chicken and egg thing, the first that comes always is the customer. So in Exceliata, we believe that the way to success, the way to deliver the proper value proposition is being a customer-centric company. And in that sense, I think the customer needs to be the pull from which all the digitalization starts. I don't understand digitalization if it's not with customer centricity. Hence, I will say, it starts from the customer journey, digitalizing the customer journey, the customer centricity, but that cannot happen if we don't also do internal processes digitalization. We cannot deliver the proper value proposition if it doesn't come with the internal view as well. But again, I would like to stress that customer centricity needs to be like the trigger and needs to be the pull of the rest of digitalization.
Right. Thanks, David. Anthony, your call. Do you agree?
Yeah, thanks, Kirill. I think if you asked me the question 3 years ago, I would have said it's not customer experience, right? But now with hindsight, what we realize is that you need both to run in parallel. Some example I can give you is in one of the opcos when we first began the journey on customer channel digital stacks, we had 16 steps to onboard a customer. So getting a customer to activate the SIM, the process alignment, the backend, the activation, etc. 16 steps. Now the issue was the customer experience, right? So when you start to attack that, you begin to transform your internal processes, organization, backend systems, right? We went down from 16 to 3. Now, that didn't go only on the front end. So that impacted the entire organization end to end. This also means you are adding stuff like AI, RPA in the middle to automate things and run much faster. Because customer experience, when you click something, it has to happen within seconds. You can't wait 2 minutes, right?
Right.
So it's kind of, you need both to run in parallel. This is hindsight, huh? So we learned the last 3 years, now we know it must run in parallel. Yeah.
Okay, so I think, yeah, the end goal is clear, right? So, but how to come to that goal? And here I'd like to share some insights from a survey that was done by BCG, and where telco executives were asked, what is your approach to the digitalization? And about 5% of them, they said, the company has adopted a kind of an all-in approach where there is a lot of resource dedicated, special attention of the management. About 30 to 40% said that it is more a targeted initiatives where there is a focus on some touch point or maybe some specific service. And then there is a journey focus, pretty much like what David has explained, where the focus is on the entire customer journey and finding ways how to make it more simple, more digital. And then, yeah, roughly the same amount is focusing on the offer, so which is on the product. So just finding the product that will be more digital. And then functional focus is around 10%, and agile first method about 5 to 10%, where it's mainly focusing on the process itself rather than the specific product or specific part of the system. So now, my question to David. Where does Axiata fall under this classification, and what is the approach of Excel? So which one you feel is closer probably to you?
Yeah, difficult question again. So when I see the archetypes, all of them make a lot of sense, and sometimes it's difficult to just select one. In any case, if I had to select, probably I would say that we are between targeted initiatives and journey focus. And let me maybe explain why, right? Here in Exceliata, as I was saying, we are very customer-centric. So we have organized ourselves in customer segments. So we have specific teams tapping into different customer segments. Now, our digitalization process has like 4 different areas. Of course, one of them is the customer relationship. And this one, the most visible outcome, let's say it's the digital touchpoints or the applications that we are developing with MyExcel for the Excel brand, with AccessNet for our youth brand, right? Customer relationship. But that's, and that we could say that goes more into the journey focus, right? On how to buy our packets, how to see how much pulse do you have, etc. Right? So we tap into certain customer journeys there. But on top of that, we have another 3 areas that we are focusing on. One of them is in our own employees from a human capital point of view. So we are also digitalizing the relationship with ourselves, how to say, right? I will give you an example. So during this COVID pandemic, one of the things that we have developed, it's an application or a web where every day all our employees need to survey about themselves, whether they are feeling healthy, whether they are working from home, coming to the office. How do you come to the office, whether you are doing that in your own private car, walking like myself, or in somehow else, right? So that's an example of digitalization from a human capital for our own employees. The third one will be also with our outlets. So as you know, here in Indonesia, many of our products are sold by third parties in their retail outlets. So we have also developed digital touchpoints in order to have a closer relationship with those outlets. And the fourth one will be around all other partners, so vendors and third-party partners that we work with, right? So as you can see, that's why I was saying it will be a journey and targeted initiatives. Journey in the sense that customer is the most important for us, and it's a customer-centric thing. We have our own apps and the customer relationship, but we also have targeted things around human capital, around our retail outlets, around third parties, vendors or partners. And we are digitalizing also those relationships.
Understood. Yeah, that's a fair approach. Yeah, thanks, David, for clarifying that. So now maybe I would like to throw in a couple more numbers, and this time, Anthony, the question will go to you because this is more on the digitalization of the back-end operations, and here is also some actually bit worrying results of a survey that was conducted in March of this year, and actually it's across the globe, so it's not only our region. And actually, if you see the percentage of companies that have already a certain level of automation, for example, the automation of the detection of the network incidents, yeah, it's quite low. So probably around 60% they have it in some form, and only 13% are using some kind of machine learning functions. 33% they do not even have such systems. AI also 22% don't even have plans. Yeah. And others, they either have, so 25% they already have such systems, and then the rest, they just plan to do it within the next couple of years. Reporting tools also, around 20% even do not have the automated reporting tools. So, Anthony, the question would be to you, where does Axiata stand in this? So where would you, so for both automation of the network incidents, in general, AI, maybe other technologies. So how would you get Axiata in this regard?
I think, Kirill, the foundation for this is really having two things done right in the beginning. So 3 years ago, we started to work on number one, API exposure across everything, network, IT, etc. Right. The second piece was a single data lake. So all of the data you have comes to one place, right? Now, once you have these two foundation elements in place, you can then start to build out your AI, machine learning, all the use cases. So we began that journey about 2 years ago. Essentially, we're using AI, machine learning, RPA in many of our apps, as well as next best offer engines, and even video analytics is using deep learning techniques, right? We are not only doing that, we are also, the last 2 years, been assessing maturity of our AI and impact to the business. This is a really key thing because you got to have a feedback loop back into technology to make sure it actually is effective. What I want to say is that when you move into 5G and IoT, this becomes critical to be successful. You're showing a slide here, I think for telcos, when you move along to 5G plus, beyond connectivity services, it's all great to do digital CSP, the bottom right box. That's the fundamental piece to have in place. But we also have to move into ecosystem and partnering platforms to work with a bunch of different vertical partners to ensure we can offer a platform service to our enterprise and consumers. So in this kind of play, that AI, open APIs, data lake is fundamental.
I see. So yeah, this is another slide that you
Yeah,
have.
so this is kind of
shared
I think,
maybe-
on a digital
yeah,
stack
maybe-
of a telco, this is kind of what's back end at a very high level, right? So we began doing the digital channels initially, number one there, and then of course the digital stack, and then we started opening APIs to our backends. And we began the transformation of our backend systems IT a bit later. So it's kind of stage 3. Now you see 2 vertical bars there, 3 and 4. This is super critical. This is more about people, culture, organization, right? If you talk about agile development, DevOps, analytics, technology is one thing, but I think people also have to move, transform themselves to be part of the equation. So we are also beginning to see technology folks, IT, network, and BUs co-locating and being in clusters rather than being in silos and then passing balls back and forth. So I think this has to change org-wise as well. And Axiata Group is very much aligned to Forum's open digital architecture, the middle box there. This enables the stuff I talked about in terms of open APIs, data lake, AI, and agility.
All right, understood. Yeah, thanks, Anthony. So David, maybe any comments on this, or do you?
No, I fully. Yeah, sorry. So I fully agree with what Anthony is saying, right? And I think it's very important, actually. We don't envision the future of telco if it is not partnering with a lot of third parties. So the old days of voice, SMS, and now gigabytes, I think it's gone. So moving forward, we need to partner with content providers, with many different vendors in different platforms in order to provide a much tailored value proposition to our customers. So I think that it's out of any question, right? So I think that's a given. Now, how to do that? I also believe that the line between IT and commercial marketing sales is going to blur more and more. So the old days again, where IT was sitting in one floor and marketing in another floor, and they talk once per month to deliver some request, then the request is not properly understood. I think that's gone also. So the way of working needs to change, and it's already doing so, to something that is much more integrated, right? Where both teams work together in order to deliver this value proposition and opening the platforms in order to be able to partner and to onboard many other partners with value propositions. So I think that's a little bit.
Thanks. Yeah, that's very insightful, and I think it makes a lot of sense, this merger of the CIO and CMO roles that we have been talking a lot in the last years, but I agree with you, and it's really happening now. So now the last question. Imagine 10 years or 20 years from now, we are watching also a TV commercial like one we watched in the very beginning. Which of the technologies will have the biggest impact, do you think, will change the customer journey or the way we operate the business in the telecom world? Maybe David and Anthony. David, you can start, please, this time.
Well, this is a very difficult one. So I read the different technologies, and all of them look that they are going to have a huge impact, right? I think 5G, of course, is going to have a huge impact. Anthony already talked a little bit, and probably he will. AI, big data, blockchain, cloud, virtual reality. So all of them will have a huge impact. I personally am a fan of virtual reality. So I find it very, very amazing. And I think it has tons of possibilities that we are still in the very, very early days, right? So, but I am a true believer that virtual reality is going to truly change on how we do things. And even more with this new normality that it's coming, right? Maybe we are still, again, a little bit too early in virtual reality for it to make a big change, but it will get accelerated and it will bring. So I think for sure those technologies will make a bigger change. There is a small one there, eSIM, that I don't see. I don't think that's going to be the one that is going to make the big change. So I think it's one step below the rest of the technologies that you put in here, right? But still, it's going to be something that we will see happening probably very soon, and it's going something as simple as that. It's going to change a lot the telco industry. Again, it's the most simple of the changes here, but it can have a huge impact. Because imagine yourself that rather than going to to an outlet, having to change your SIM card in order to imagine that you can access any value proposition from any of the opcos that are offering out there, just sitting in your living room with your mobile phone. That I can tell you that it will change how we organize ourselves, how the sales teams are organized, how the retail outlets are organized. It will change a lot, and it's a very, very simple one, right?
From around the world, right? Maybe even from around the world.
Even from around the world, exactly. So it's a very simple change that I think it will have a big impact. Now, I understand that 5G, blockchain, etc., are maybe at another level, right? Are capital letters.
All right, thanks, David. Anthony, anything to add? What's your call here?
Yeah, maybe I pick on a couple of things: cloud compute and AI. What we are seeing is that before, what we could do on premise or with own people, data scientists, can now be taken from cloud on tap. There's a much more easier UI UX to consume AI, off a cloud. It really means that you democratize that to anyone, even the BUs using this cloud compute AI, straight off the UI UX they present. So that changes the whole game, where analytics goes from back end to the front end, to the edge on the BUs, right? On AI, we are seeing now it's no longer something that hangs on the side. It's getting built into our products. When you build a self-care app or chatbot or IoT, smart life type thing, AI is now inside the software itself, the application. It's no longer on the side component. So these two will, I think, long way to go still to transform, how we actually offer services. Blockchain, personally, I feel it's like a hammer looking for a nail right now. What's the use case, right? There are certain use cases here around settlement, etc. But still, we have not seen this use at scale within a telco. Across telcos, across CSPs, potential use cases, yeah.
Great, thanks Anthony, thanks David. We're done. Just a second, let me check. Yeah, we have a few questions, but I'm afraid we have run out of time. Maybe just one. eSIM what are Asian telcos are afraid of? Are we afraid of eSIM? And David?
No. I mean, not at all, right? I don't think being afraid of innovation, or I don't call it already innovation because it's a reality, right? It's the correct thing. It will for sure change how we do things, but I think that's healthy. That's a healthy thing. And adapting to this new reality, it's a necessity. And I think from a customer point of view, this is going to be an improvement. It will allow a much better customer experience on selecting the operator. It will allow on changing easier, being able to benchmark by oneself. So I think it's a positive thing. If it's positive for the customer, it's positive for us. Now we need to adapt in order to deliver the proper proposition, but not scared, of course.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Very insightful session. Very interesting thoughts, opinions, and we want to wish you good luck in this very difficult but necessary journey in further digitalization and of telco industry and bringing new products and new services to the clients. Thanks once again. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you very much, Kirill, for the invitation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Kirill, David, and Anthony. One of the things I picked up from that discussion, it was great how we had a chief information officer and a chief commercial officer, and so much of the discussion was centered on the customer. And I think that just goes to show how much today's businesses, are waking up to the fact that the customer is in the driver's seat. And as consumers, we increasingly have higher expectations of businesses to orient around our needs.